In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at how to use the camera rig rail. Basically, this will enable us to animate cameras along paths and curves so that we can have a nice curved flowing movement with our camera without having to try and hand animate this. So if you just drag a camera rail into your scene, you'll see that initially what we have is just this little rail, and then we have these 2 points. If you just select one of the points, drag it out, you'll see that will increase the length of our rail. And if you select this point here, you can see we can curve this. You can add more points in by holding Alt and just dragging on that. Now, it's a typical rule of thumb to create one curve, so without it changing its curve direction. So you see how this just curves round to there. We won't need 3 points. You should be able to delete that point and just use these controls to get that correct. Now, the reason we do this, the reason to only use the 2 points is it's far easier because you've only got 2 points to manage, but also it'll give you that perfect curve between those 2 points. If you add one in the middle, you've always got that slight kink where the curve won't be exactly perfect, or at least take you a lot of time to kind of set that up right. So just try and use 2 points for each curve. Obviously, if we wanted to have it curve off in this direction, then you would add another point. But there's no need for that middle point between kind of each curve. So just for this example, though, we're just going to use these 2 points here. I don't think we really need any more than that. You'll notice how obviously I can move this up as well. So it doesn't need to all stay on the flat trajectory. Okay, so with our rail in place, what we want to do is come to our sequencer. If you don't have a sequencer, you can just right click in your content browser, animation, level sequence. Come over to your actual sequencer here, and we'll just add a camera in using this button here. So what it's done is given us a brand new camera. What we're going to want to do is link that to the rail. Now, obviously our standard way of parenting is to grab our object and attach it like so. And that will attach it. So if I select the cine camera, just reset these, you can see it's on the rail like so. And if I select the rail, you'll see I can change this value to move up and down the rail. If I tick on lock orientation to rail, then the camera will actually rotate with the rotation of the curve. And if I wanted it to look inwards, I can just change my my rotation, my actual camera asset, and then we can see as we slide up the rail, it will follow that kind of curvature. Now there's a problem with this though. If I do File, Save All, that will actually lose connection to that camera actor, and we don't want to be dealing with that every time we want to save. So let me show you how to fix that. If we do Track, Actor to Sequencer, and add our rail in here, and then on our camera actor here, we do Track, Attach, and we select the rail like so. So you can see now that that's actually attached, and if I do File, Save All, you can see that we don't lose our connection here. So what we want to do next is actually animate the camera moving along the rail. So if we just go to the front here, select our camera rig rail, go to Track, and we'll want to put current position on rail as a keyable asset. So then what we'll want to do is just hit add a keyframe. In fact, we'll want to set that to 0 as well. And we'll just come out of curves like that as well. And then we'll press this button to jump to the end of our sequence, and we'll set this to 1. So you see we've got 0 there and then 1 there. Next we'll select our actual camera asset here so we can see what it does. You can see it is moving up the rail, but what we need to do is actually reset the position of this camera as well. So select the camera, and we'll just reset this position and reset our rotation too. So now, if we look in this viewport here, we can see the camera moving up. What we want to do next is actually get that rotation right. So with the camera selected, the first thing we want to do is just increase the height a bit so that we can stop viewing this rail like that. So put that to like 30. And next in our Z rotation coordinates, we'll set that to 270, and then we can see our camera follow up here. So as it moves up the rail, you'll notice at the start of the animation here, it clips out. Now the reason it does that is because you need to go to your attach track here and just make sure that that is covering the entire length of your sequence. So now we can see that that will flow up with the rail. Obviously what we can also do now is select our rail, and we can tweak these however we want, and obviously that will update for us. So yeah, obviously you're free to mess around with that as much as you want. Another thing I'm going to quickly do here, not really remember the tutorial, but I will just change my thing there. We can see that that moves up like so. Okay, so yeah, that's how to use the camera rig rail. The important thing to remember is when you're animating this, don't parent up here, come down here on your camera, add an attach track here, and make sure you link that to the camera rig rail. Then basically, every time you save, you're not going to lose that, that connection. But also make sure that you drag out the animated bar here so that it covers the length of your sequence, because when it's not within that, it will obviously just lose connection again. Okay, so that's using the camera rig rail.